Guys, I just want to thank everybody for all the questions that you guys have been sending them. We're continually trying to make videos for you guys, showing you different techniques, different mobility, things that you can do to improve your lifting, to improve your performance, and to improve your physique. One of the questions that I've got most recently is what type of cardio to do, when to do cardio, and how to structure my cardio and my weight training routine together. So I'll start with the type of cardio that you need to do. The typical jogging for several miles, this slow long distance cardio, is the type of cardio that you want to avoid most of the time. Unless you're training for some type of marathon, some type of 10K, some type of long distance running like that. Even if you're training for a 5K, I really don't think you need to do it that often because a 5K is not that far. But if you're up in the 10K, going for a 20K or whatever, I don't know, I don't run marathon runners or anything like that, then you can work on that slow long distance cardio. But if you're wanting to really improve your physique and really improve your performance, your hormone profile, your blood lipids, then that is the type of cardio that you want to avoid because it's associated with an increased risk of heart disease, an increased risk of arthritis, and increased risk of other inflammatory diseases. And that is because this type of running increases inflammatory cytokines in the body, and that's because this type of repetitive pounding on the body develops basically an autoimmune reaction that will actually release inflammatory cytokines into the blood, which can lead to an increased risk for things like heart disease. And you see that even if you have low blood lipids because you're a runner and because you eat well, oftentimes your low blood lipids are not very good blood lipids. So there's another video that I've done that I'm going to post later talking about different blood lipids and the difference between oxidized and inflamed blood lipids versus your normal everyday blood lipids and why those differ and how the risk factors differ for those two different types of blood lipids. But that's past the scope of this video. The scope of this video is a type of cardio. So avoid that type of low long distance cardio and jogging for miles on miles. The two types of cardio that you should do are very intense sprint style work. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to sprint on the grass, but sprint style work is what we want you to do. That can be pulling a sled, pushing a sled, doing heavy farmer's carries, anything that's very intense, all out as hard as you can go for anywhere between 10 and 60 seconds. And then you take a periodic rest break and continue that for 3, 4, 5 and upwards of 10 repetitions. Anything past 10 you're starting to really tax the CNS, but once you hit about that 10 mark, unless you're a competitive sprinter or a competitive athlete, that will be plenty for the amount of high intensity cardio that you need to do, supplemented with your weight training. Now, if you're going to do that high intensity cardio, I suggest you do those sessions 1 to 2 times per week after your weight training session. And you want to stack that to where it's not directly after your lower body session. If you go in and do a bunch of heavy squats or heavy deadlifts and then you go out and try and sprint, you're going to end up injuring your hamstrings, or you're not going to be able to develop the power out of your quadriceps and your abdominals that you need to actually sprint to full capacity. Whereas on the days that those muscles are recovered and not tired and the fast twitch ability has not been limited by you already lifting very heavy, then your sprints are going to look a lot better, they're going to feel a lot better, and you're not going to get hurt. So again, 1 to 2 times per week on the sprint style sessions if you're trying to lose body fat, and the rest of it can be dietary manipulations to drop your body weight. Now, the other type of cardio that you need to do is just everyday walking at a slight incline if you're going to be on a treadmill, so that you can get your heart rate up a little bit into that fat burning zone, but you don't want it to be too stressful. You don't want to be walking so fast that you can't carry on a conversation and talk. You need to get out and get some sunlight, get some vitamin D, but get out and walk anywhere between 2 and 7 hours per week. Now, this type of cardio is what really burns fat. People get very confused by this, but it has to do with our genetic profile and how our hormones function, and that humans are basically designed to be walking and sprinting animals. This type of cardio you'll see your professional fitness athletes and bodybuilders do. You don't ever see those guys jogging on treadmills. What you do see them do is setting up their treadmill to an incline of about I don't know, 15 degrees, and then they'll walk for 30 to 45 minutes 4 or 5 times a week if they're getting really close to their show. But if they're just trying to maintain about 9 or 10% body fat, they may do it once or twice a week. I recommend you guys doing it at least 2 hours per week, and as you start to get more resistant to shedding fat, then you can think about doing maybe a little bit more. But again, if you choose your dietary manipulations properly and fix your metabolism how it needs to be fixed, then burning fat is a very, very, very easy thing to do, and you really don't have to do that much cardio. So in summary, don't jog, try and sprint 1 to 2 times a week if you really, really want to get shredded and help your performance if you're not a performance athlete. Again, if you're a performance athlete, these recommendations are completely different for you. This is for your basic everyday gym goer who's trying to lose fat and build muscle. And then walk at least two hours per week and up to 7 hours per week if you're getting into that very, very resistant fat burning zone. But this is all, again, coupled with a proper weight training program that we can make for you and a proper nutrition program to help you balance your metabolic rate to where it needs to be and make fat burning very, very effortless.